Okay, hello, welcome to the last part of the trusted video walkthrough. So we're going to pick up from where we stopped. We have established domain domination in the lab child domain, and now we want to escalate our privileges to an enterprise admin and perform a complete takeover of the entire forest. So we have established RDP access to the child domain's domain controller, and we are going to see an interesting attack of how we can escalate our privileges to the forest. So here in our Bloodhound, we've marked pretty much everything as added. Okay, we can mark this group also as owned. We can see that we have pawned the LabDC domain controller, and we can see that we do have two, sorry, let me see where it is. Let me refresh database stats. We have two domains here, okay, and it will list all the domains we have. We have the lab, which is a pawn domain, and we have the trusted VL. Now, Bloodhound has an interesting query here to map domain trusts, but right now it's not going to return anything. And this is because when we enumerated the domain, probably we didn't have the rights to perform this kind of enumeration, but that's not a problem because we can run Sharphound again, this time from the compromised domain controller, and we can perform an enumeration of the trusts. There are many ways to do it. We can use PowerView, we can use custom LDAP queries, but I'm going to show you the way to do it via Bloodhound. Okay, so let's connect to our fake SMB server so that we can transfer files. Okay, yeah, we've already connected, sorry. Now let's try and copy the Sharphound ingester. Okay, let's import it. Cool. And let's invoke Bloodhound. But this time we are going to use the trust collection method. We don't really need anything else. We're just going to enumerate the trusts because that's what we actually want. Okay, so we can copy this nice file we have here to our fake SMB share. Okay, and let's now import it here. All right, cool. Let's go and refresh the database stats, and now I believe that, yeah, the domain trusts are mapped now. Okay, so when you compromise the domain controller and you have more domains in the same forest or in another forest, make sure to run Bloodhound again to gather more information. Okay, otherwise you can use PowerView or other tools. For example, if you want to use PowerView, you can use this nice command here. First import PowerView and then run this command, and it will give you the trusting of these domains. So what's important here to note and what's important to comprehend is the trust relationship. Okay, you can see here that lab is trusted by trusted domain. Okay, the domain lab is trusted by the domain trusted. You know, It's a trust abuse, hence the name of the chain. What's important to comprehend here, especially if you have one-way trust relationships, is what trusted means. So when a domain is trusted by another domain, it means that the users of the trusted domain can authenticate to the trustee domain and access resources in there. Okay. Now this is a case where we have what we call bidirectional trust. So both domains trust each other. So this means that the users of each domain can access resources and authenticate to the other domain. This is the default trust relationship when we create a child domain. Okay, it's commonly seen and it's commonly abused, and that's what we're going to do right here. So we can see that we have compromised the child domain and we want to escalate our privileges to the parent domain, and we can do it with the so-called extra seeds attack. Okay, so the overview of this attack is this. There is an attribute called seed history that we are going to abuse, which is used when we want to migrate users from a domain to another. So this attribute, the seed history attribute, is used to maintain access to the original domain. For example, if we wanted to move rsmith to another domain, this attribute would allow us to store the original user seed in the new user's SID history attribute, so that this user would still have access to his original domain. Okay, so in this extra seeds attack, which is only feasible if we don't have the SID filtering protection enabled, what we are going to do is we're going to use a user in the child domain, okay, and we're going to create a golden ticket from the compromised child domain to authenticate as an enterprise administrator to the parent domain. Okay, we're going to modify the attribute to contain the SID of the enterprise administrators group, which will essentially give us full access to the parent domain controller. Now, for this, we can do it in many ways. We can do it through a compromised Windows host using Mimikatz and Rubus, or we can also do it from a Linux attack host using Inpacket. And I think we're going to use both methods here. So before we move on, let's copy some more tools that we're going to use. I'm going to use Rubus. It's a great tool for Kerberos attacks. And let's also grab Mimikatz. And let's also grab PsExec64. Alright, we pretty much have everything right here. Okay, so what we're going to need is the KAB TGT hash of the child domain, which we already have because we have used hashdump. The SID of the child domain, which we can get from, we can get it from the Bloodhound, or we can get it through PowerView, or using the Inpacket to the lookup SID tool. We're going to use the name of the target user in the child domain. Okay, we have cPower, we can use administrator, anything we want. Okay, the fully qualified domain name of the child domain and the SID of the enterprise admins group. Okay, so let's go here first and let's launch Mimikatz. Okay, nice. And let's search for the hash of the KAB TGT account. Okay, we have some lag, but that's not a problem. It's lab KRBTGT. Okay, so here it is, the NTLM hash. Of course, as I mentioned before, we already have it via the hash stamp from the interpreter shell. Okay, and now let's copy this command here. Okay, you can see that we can create a golden ticket with Mimikatz, or we can create a golden ticket with Rubus. I'm going to use Rubus to show the tool as well. Okay, so we need the NTLM hash here. We have it. Let's copy it and place it right here. We have to use the fully qualified domain name of the child domain, the compromised domain, which is lab.trusted.vl. And we need the SID of the child domain. Let's go right here. And okay, let's go and grab the let's see here. All right, let's grab the SID and paste it right here. And we need the SIDS, all right, the seeds. Let's go here. Now, this is essentially the parent domain's SID using the 519 extension, which essentially is the SID of the enterprise administrators group. All right, we don't have this right now. If we had it, you could see that this would be the enterprise administrators SID. Okay, now let's exit Mimikatz and let's, all right, so here is the IP, okay, of the trusted.vl. Now let's purge our tickets. Okay, now let's try to, okay, we can see that we can find the user's file domain. Let's list our tickets. We don't have currently something. And let's try to list the directories, the folders of the parent domain domain controller. Okay, it's trustedDC.trusted.vl. You can see that we're denied access. We can't actually. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, you can see that we have an access denied message here. Okay, so this means that although we are domain administrators now, we are the child domain administrators, we cannot access the trusted DC. But if we launch the attack with Rubus, okay, what we're going to do now is craft a golden ticket, impersonate any user we want, and then pass that ticket, or import that ticket in order to impersonate a domain administrator. And if we press enter, we can see that we have successfully forged the ticket, we have successfully imported it. We can see it right here. And right now, if we try to list the folders and the in the parent domain's domain controller, we are completely successful. Okay, now we have full access to the domain controller, okay, through the CIFS, the Common Internet File System service, but we actually want to get remote execution. So we're going to use psexec. Okay, and we're going to launch PowerShell in there. Okay. Okay, let's wait a bit, and let's see now. Okay, we are at the trusted DC, and we can actually do anything we want. Okay, you can see that we have full control of the parent domain as well. You can see that we can read the root flag here. Now our possibilities are endless here. We can add a user, here, okay, and we can add this user to the domain administrators, domain admins. Okay, nice. All right, so if we say this, we can see that we have successfully added the new domain administrator, which we can now use to you know, maybe dump the secrets. So let's use in-package secrets dump and say trusted.vl. Okay, alright, you can see that we can now start dumping the secrets from the parent domain as well. Okay, now that's usually good practice. You don't want to, you can also reset the password of the administrator, but that's not good for you know, that's not actually pretty good for persistence, because you want to maintain this hash here so that you can later authenticate to the domain. Now actually that's a pretty complete forest takeover. Or okay, we can actually craft a golden ticket to gain permanent access to that domain. We can do many things. As you can see right here, we have done pretty much everything. Okay, let's see if there are other domain users here. No, nothing. Okay, so this is it. Okay, we can now remove the pen tester domain administrator we have created, or we can use it, you know, for demonstration purposes here.